Hello everyone, history chapter, Weaver and Smelter factory owners. Today we talk about abandoned furnaces and villages. Yes, as you know, the wood steel which was melting in these furnaces. Production of wood steel require high specialized technique of refining the iron. But the iron smelting in India was extremely common. It is not that only special, the few people involved in that activity. Many people were involved. The iron smelting in India extremely common till the end of the 19th century because it was in Bihar, central India. The many village people were involved in that activity. Bihar, central India, particularly every district had smelter. Those were involved in smelting work. So smelter that use local deposit of ore to produce iron, which was widely used in manufacturing implement like tools of daily use, like utensils and the tools which were used in agriculture. The furnaces were most often built to clay and sun-dried bricks. The smelting was done by men, while women worked the below. Below means those the pumping the air in that in that furnaces. Pumping air, they kept the charcoal burning. When they start pumping the air, so what happened? They kept the charcoal uh, start burning. Okay, but after the late 19th century, the craft of iron smelting was declined. अभी मैंने बोला it was very common. The many people involved in this activity, this craft, this specialized craft work. But the late 19th century, the craft iron smelting was declined. The most villages furnaces fell into disuse and amount of iron produced came down. But ऐसा क्या हुआ? What was the reason behind it? Let us talk. The first reason was the new forest law. Yes, the government, the British government introduced new forest law. The colonial government introduced new forest law. According to that forest law, they prevent the people, those who are entered the village and collected the forest product. Those lived there, they displaced that people, they overthrew that forest dweller people from the forest. So they banned their entry in the forest area. That was the forest law. The forest was reserved for only the colonial government, and they only allowed few people, those uh, did the work for colonial government. Other or the local people entry was banned by the colonial government. That was the forest law. So when the entry was banned by the colonial government, how that was the possible for the iron smelter to collect the forest product from the forest? So that was the problem for them, because if they had no the raw material from, so their work, so their work started from the raw material. अगर raw material ही नहीं होगा तो वो furnaces में करेंगे क्या? Furnaces का use क्या होगा? That is why that was the decline started. First reason was the new forest law. Where could they get the iron? Because their entry was banned. Defying forest law, they often entered the forest secretly and the collected wood, but they could not sustain their occupation on the basis of this manner. Many gave up their craft and looked for other means of livelihood. बिकॉज ऐसे तो काम नहीं चलता कि वो कभी कभार जाते और आयरन ओर ले आते और फर्नेस से चलाते. Now in some area government did grant assist to the forest, but iron smelter had paid the some amount of money for entering in the forest. Okay, so as but the iron smelter had paid very high tax to the forest department for every furnaces they use. So this reduce their income, this reduce their profit. Moreover, the late 19th century iron and steel was being imported from Britain. Now, when this thing, forest law introduced, and the forest people entry was banned. So there was no iron product, iron steel in the India. So now the iron steel was started imported from Britain. Ironsmith in India began using imported iron manufacturing utensils and implements. This inevitably lowered the demand of iron produced by local smelter because now the people started purchase these things which was made up from Britain iron steel. So the iron steel imported from Britain. By the early 20th century, artisan producing iron steel faced new competition. Let's talk about iron steel factory came up in India. So let's have I have a small documentary. So first you see that documentary, okay?
Breaking away from the domination of British firms, Indian entrepreneurs had begun to make a mark. From trading companies in Calcutta, Madras, and Bombay to textile mills, manufacturing units, and homegrown banks to fund it all. But the setting up of Tata Steel in 1907 marked a new dawn of heavy industries that would go on to lay the building blocks of a new India. The story of Tata Steel and how it transformed a small town, Sakchi, into the first planned city of India is the stuff of corporate legend, and a story closely linked to the founder of the Tata Group, Jamshedji Tata. Born in 1839 into a family of Parsi priests in Navsari in Gujarat, Jamshedji came to Bombay as a teenager. The city was emerging as the commercial capital of India, and the young Jamshedji was quick to ride the wave. He started several ventures, mostly in the textile business, making a mark by establishing first the Empress Mill in Nagpur in 1877 and later the Taj Mahal Hotel in 1903. But long before both, Jamshedji had already set his mind on an audacious plan to set up India's first steel plant. The idea came to him in 1867 when he heard a speech by British author Thomas Carlyle, who said, "The nation which has the steel will have the gold." After 2 decades of research and visits to the steel and industrial belt of the US, Alabama, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland, Jamshedji put together a team that came back to scout for the richest iron ore deposits in India. It was an uphill task and one that was scoffed at. For instance, so amused was the Chief Commissioner of the Railways Board, Sir Frederick Upcott, when he heard that the Tatas were looking at manufacturing steel for the railways, that he famously retorted, "I will undertake to eat every pound of steel they succeed in making." Sadly, Jamshedji Tata didn't live to see his dreams come true or Upcott eat his words. He died in May 1904, and it was left to his sons, Dorab and Ratan, to set up the Tata Iron and Steel Company Limited, or TISCO, in 1907. The factory came up in the tribal stretch of Sakchi, at the confluence of the Subarnarekha and Kharkai rivers in present-day Jharkhand. India's first Indian-owned modern steel plant produced the first steel ingot on the 16th of February 1912. By 1919, the company was so successful that the town of its birth was renamed Jamshedpur as an ode to the founder of the Tata Group and his vision. But it wasn't all smooth sailing for India's first steel company. In 1924, it faced a near collapse, and at that point, the company head, Sir Dorab Tata, had to pledge his wife's jewels, the Jubilee diamonds to be precise, to save the company. But that is another story. Tata Steel weathered that storm and many more. Weathered that storm and many more.
The year was 1904. Okay, the hot month of April. The Charles Weld are, who was he? An American geologist, and Dorabji Tata, who was the elder son of Jamshedji Tata. He wanted to fulfill his father's dream. So, for this, were traveling in Chhattisgarh in search of iron ore deposit. They had spent many months on the costly venture looking for source of good iron ore to set up the modern iron steel industry factory in India. The Jamshedji Tata had decided to spend a large part of his fortune to build a big iron steel industry in India. But it could not be done without identifying the source, the raw material, the fine quality of iron. So one day he was very upset. One day when he was traveling many hours in the forest, the whale, the American journalist, and the Dorabji came upon a small town, found a group of men and women carrying basket loads on of iron ore. These people were Agarias. Agarias, the community, those specialized in craft of smelting iron. When they asked from them where they had found the iron ore, the Agarias pointed to the hill in the distance. Weld and Dorabji reached the hill, and after an exhausting trek through dense forests, one exploring the hill, the journalist declared that they had at last found what they had been looking for. जिसको वो ढूंढ रहे थे. That was Raja Hara Hill. Had won the finest ore in the world. But there the problem. What was the problem? The region was dry. The water necessary for running the iron steel industry so was not the found nearby. The Tatas had continued their search for the most suitable place to set up their factory. The Agarias helped the discovery of a source of iron ore that would later supply a Pillai steel plant. So after that, they find out the solution. A few years later, the large area forest was cleared on the bank of river Subarnarekha to set up the factory and industrial township that was known as Jamshedpur. Here there was a water near the iron ore deposit. The Tata Iron Steel Industry came up, began producing steel in 1912. TISCO was set up to opportunity time. Although late 19th century, India was now producing the steel, okay, importing steel that was manufactured in Britain. But the expansion of railway in India had provided a huge market of rails that which is made up of iron that Britain produced. But what happened after that? The people, the India importing the steel and iron from the Britain. For a long time, British expert Indian Railway were unwilling to believe that good quality steel could be produced in India. That is why they were importing this steel from Britain. By the time TISCO was set up, situation was changing because in 1914, First World War broke out. Now the steel produced in India now had to meet the demand of war in Europe. So they were not, the steel was not available for the India. So the import steel into India declined dramatically because the First World War broke out. So that which steel were manufacturing for India in Britain that was used in Europe in war. So as war dragged for the several years, TISCO had to produce shell and carriages while wheels for war. 1919, colonial government was buying 90% of steel. Keep it this thing in mind, 90% of steel manufactured by TISCO. जो पहले import करती थी ब्रिटेन से, अब उसने 90% steel किससे लेना start कर दिया? TISCO से. Over the time, TISCO became a biggest steel industry within the British Empire. In the case of iron steel, the case cotton textile industry expansion occurred only when the British imports into India declined and the market for Indian industry goods increased. This happened during the only First World War and after. The nationalist movement developed, the industrial class became stronger and the demand of government protection became louder. The struggling to retain its control over India. National movement started, the leaders wanted to become a free, independent and free, they wanted to free from British. So the British government had to concede many of these demands in last decade of colonial